It's tea time, and I have a big glass of ice cold water. And my little cup, it's an Arctic cup. This was, we were at a conference one time in Atlanta, and we were cleaning up, and I had to go to the bathroom. And there in the bathroom was this cup. Now, I think I ordered this handle for it, but I tried to find who had lost their cup. And everybody had left the venue. There was really just us. We were loading up our truck and everybody had just left. There wasn't even a lost and found yet. I mean I tried. And it was that's been 5 6 years ago. And this has been a good cup. Somebody sent me one that's leopard, that's not this brand, and I get it out and use it every once in a while. But this one has stood the test of time. It still keeps things really cold overnight. I love that part of it. And it's an it's RTIC Arctic. It's a good brand. But this was in I found it in a bathroom. Somebody had left it there and there was just no way to find who it belonged to. If I knew, I would buy them a new one. Anyway, folks, oh, is that a leopard straw? Yeah, it's a leopard straw. I bought 3 of them. Makes me happy. I think I had a leopard rat in my hair. Anyway, folks, yeah. So this morning, I need your help. Those of you who are in here right now, I need your help. You're really good at acronyms. Somebody came up with the acronym for FLY, finally loving yourself. And I need an acronym for what I entitled this morning's show. It was perfection and in capital letters ISM. Because we know perfectionism stops us dead in our tracks. It stops us. So the S could be stops, but what's the I and the M? So I need y'all to work on that. Maybe brainstorm together on here on what perfection ISM really stands for, the meaning from us, fly babies. Let's see, somebody was watching our videos from 11 years ago. I can't even imagine, Mercedes. I can't even imagine. Is stopping. Perfectionism is stopping. Betsy, it's stop. Mercedes said it too. I mean, great minds. Y'all are amazing. Is stopping me. Perfection is stopping me. Perfectionism is stopping me. It's so mean is good too. Perfectionism is stopping me. That's what it boils down to. It's so mean. No, it's ISM. Perfectionism. ISM. And I don't know why, when I was typing it, I wanted ISM to be capitalized. I didn't know, but I just felt it in my spirit that I needed to capitalize ISM. Is stopping momentum. Y'all are so good. Isolates my soul. Well, sometimes you just have to ask for help, y'all. just have to ask for help. Isms are not good. It's such a monster. Y'all are so good and so creative. And we've been beaten up our whole lives because we had this creative spirit. And we don't have to do that anymore. That's what flying is all about. Loving yourself just the way you are. And helping to address the problems that our perfectionism causes. I remember, I don't even have a picture of it. If I do, I can't find it. Many years ago, I made a stained glass window. I used to be a stained glass artist. And perfectionism is rampant in the art world. I mean, bad. And I worked on this piece of glass. I don't remember what it was, but it was 600 pieces of glass that I cut out and fitted into a jigsaw puzzle pretty much. And then I had to foil every piece of glass. And that's put copper foil on every piece of glass. It was a tape, and you have to seal it on there really good so that it will, when you do the soldering, that it all fits together. And I worked and worked and worked, and I would work for 20, 22 hours, and then I would sleep for a couple of hours. And by the end of the time, I forget how many hours it took me to do it all. By the end of the time, I had made myself sick. Literally made myself sick. I kept up with my hours and how long it took me to do it. And I didn't take breaks. I just worked and worked and worked. And by the end, I got the piece of glass ready. And I was sick with the flu. I couldn't go install it because I was sick. Just sick. Because I didn't pace myself. I didn't make time for rest. I didn't do any of that. I just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked until I dropped. You know, a lot of times we put our pedal to the metal, in the car, put the gas pedal down to the floor. We're late, we're late, we're late. And we put so much pressure on ourselves that we can't get anything done. And Katie's telling the rest of my story. I realized after that moment in time that my perfectionism had taken over my life, and it didn't allow me time to rest. And I remembered about Amish quilts. Um, they make one mistake in the quilt. Well, I decided that would be my signature piece. So at the bottom right-hand corner of my piece, it didn't matter if it was 5 feet by 4 feet, it didn't matter how big it was. At that bottom, I would cut a piece of glass that was reverse. That was the glass has a top side and a bottom side because when it's poured on a piece of granite. It's just laid out and poured out and rolled molten on this piece of granite. And there is a smooth side and there is a rough side. And the smooth side is the back side. So you know more about glass than you ever thought you'd learn on a FlyLady show. But I would reverse that piece of glass, cut it wrong, cut it, cut it on the backside. Well, you're supposed to cut it on the backside, but I would cut it and it would be cut from the wrong side of the glass. And that became my signature piece because you don't sign stained glass. You don't really, well, church windows get painted and certain things, but and fired, but I didn't do that kind of glass. And so I would always have one piece as my sort of signature piece that I did it. And I was happy to have done it. Yeah, I wanted to do a lot of things. I wanted to make quilts. I was good at designing quilts, but it didn't give me what God had me here to do. And it wasn't until I got my home in order that God showed me his calling on my life. And it wasn't making quilts or doing stained glass windows or or making yard art with a forge and an anvil and a hammer, which would have kept me in pretty good shape, but hey, that that wasn't my calling. I had to learn something from each one of those things, which prepared me to be Fly Lady. Even being a county commissioner prepared me for being Fly Lady. My grandmother was left-handed, and her family, she had a bunch of sisters, they wouldn't let her quilt. They wouldn't let her make stitches in the quilt for quilting purposes. They wouldn't do it because she was left-handed and her stitches would look different from ours, from everybody else's. And the left-handedness trait skipped my generation, unless, I don't know if Leanne was going to be left-handed or what, but it skipped we four girls. But Justin, we got a double whammy in Justin's family. Justin, I knew he was left-handed from pretty much 2 weeks old. He would reach with his left hand for everything. Everything. He would reach for the mobile above his crib. Just everything was with that left hand. And Sarah, my granddaughter, is left-handed. So glory be to God. It may have missed my generation, but it's in the second and third generation, it's still a prevalent thing. And there was redheadedness in our family too. My sister got that gene, and her children. So I'm just tickled to have learned the lessons that I have learned. This morning, during my morning devotional, I realized how blessed we are, me and Robert, how blessed we are. And I started crying and I couldn't stop crying. And he said, "Honey, what's going on?" And I said, "We are so blessed." I said, "I'm so blessed." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Because we've been married 26 years. In November will be 27 years." I said, "We got married pretty fast. We met on August like the 22nd, and we got married on November the 30th. I mean, it was just, we were engaged on Halloween, and it was just speed. It wasn't that we were in a hurry, it's just that we knew I knew on the very first date that I was going to spend the rest of my life with Robert. And so I just thanked him for not being, for the last 26 years, almost 27 years, being amazing. Because it could have been awful. Every day could have been terrible, but it hasn't been that way. Every day has been wonderful with him. and our home and our families. It's just been, there's not been drama. There's not been anything. And he looked at me and he said, "Honey, it took two people to do that, to do what we have. It wasn't just me. It was you too." So folks, my sister is a stepchild. I don't know what that means, Dina. Our sister Susan, I don't know. She'll explain it to me. But I'm blessed. No drama. None. None. I don't have to make up any drama. Don't have to make up any drama. But we spend time together. We spend 24/7 together, except for the 2 hours that Robert goes to play chess with Mr. Charles. And when he goes to town, take Jimmy to town, or when he goes to the grocery store. That's the only time we're apart. And if he hadn't have been home, this morning I got a note, a little message from Joy that her neighbor got hit by lightning and a tree fell on their truck and it just broke her heart for them. And I said, our house had been hit by lightning once upon a time. It was a weird thing that happened. It hit a tree out in the forest, and that tree root, the lightning followed that tree root to the fence, and the fence conducted the lightning to within 6 inches of the house. And it jumped from the end of the post to a nail and came into our home. And if Robert hadn't have been home, we would have lost our home. Now, we would have been fine. We would have been fine because Michelle and I had a plan on how to get the critters out of the house. We had two little kittens at the time and three dogs. And Michelle took the dogs and put them in her car. And I took cat treats and shook it and got the cats to go outside on the back deck. So I have been trying to practice being thankful and thanking Robert for what he does for me and our family all the time. All the time. So being thankful, thanking God for the blessings that you have. Just thanking God. And even through bad things, continue to praise God because everything I ever did in my life prepared me for today. Every single thing. It just it just all did. Every single, because when I was growing up, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. None. No idea whatsoever. I could do a lot of things. I worked for Mr. Herschel Whitfield for 10 years until he passed away. He passed away on my son's birthday. I was a good bookkeeper, but I also was bored with being a bookkeeper. So I would take vacuum cleaners apart and fix them. I would help clean air conditioners. I just did whatever needed to be doing. I did a lot of things. When Robert and I were getting the house ready for a wedding, I came over to vacuum, and the vacuum cleaner wouldn't work. So I sat down in the middle of the floor and proceeded to take the vacuum cleaner apart to find out why it wouldn't work. And he just looked at me like, "Who are you?" And I systematically laid out all the screws, everything. And when there was no obstruction in the hose or whatever, I proceeded to take the motor apart. Now, who does that? I wasn't scared of it. It was broken. I could either fix it or not. But I proceeded to lay the screws out in a clockwise fashion. I'd lay the screws out around me so that I would know where to start and where to stop. And I got down to the motor, there's little magnets in the motor, and I pulled one of them out, and there's nothing left. I pulled the other one out, and it was a vacuum cleaner his mother had given him that she had gotten a new one. And the two two brushes in there, magnets, and they were both worn all the way out. And he looked at me and he says, "What's the matter with it?" And I said, "Well, the motor's shot. It needs new bushings, new brushes for the motor." He said, "Just might as well chunk it." And I said, I agreed with him. I didn't know where to find those magnets. Had no idea where to find them. And so we got a new vacuum cleaner. He said he when he saw me not afraid to take something apart. I've always been had common sense when it came to stuff like that. But I learned how to change the oil in the truck, or how to take a water pump off a truck to put on a combine during harvest. When it's in the middle of the night and you need to get the combine going because the river's rising. I wasn't afraid to tackle it. And I got the water pump off, went out to the field where the combine was, and one of the farm hands put it on right quick, and we were up and running again. You do what you got to do. You don't be afraid. With our routines prepare us for what's next. We never realize it. We come to FlyLady to get our houses in order, but we don't even know what's planned for us. When we get our houses in order, we got a testimony the other day that said, "I've got so much free time." When you're not chasing your tail, as one of our testimonials this morning said, when you're not chasing your tail, you can do things ahead of time. Putting out fires is not fun because it's pulling you from pillar to post, and your head's spinning like a chicken with its head cut off. And then before you know it, the end of the day has come and you're exhausted. I mean, exhausted. And a lot of times when we're running around like a chicken with its head cut off, it's because we procrastinated. We didn't get that bill paid on time. Might not have even been because you didn't have the money. It was because you stuffed it in on your hotspot and you forgot about it. And then you get the notice that they're going to cut off your electricity. So, folks, Staying on top of things with our basic weekly plan, with the stuff we know that has to be done every week, is going to free you up to be who you're supposed to be in God's plan for this world. Yes, we're all an integral part of this plan. We were all born. How do you, somebody's asking, how do you submit a testimonial? Send it to FlyLady at FlyLady.net. Every email has a link in it to send us a testimonial or to ask a question. Patty sent me a question today that's going to be on next week's stuff, but I sent her the answer so that this person could go ahead and do what she needed to do. So send it to FlyLady at FlyLady.net with testimonial in the subject line. Patricia says, this is the first I see muddy shoes in the sink. Oh my, I don't know that I'd like muddy shoes in my sink. But sometimes I have dirt in my sink when I repot a plant. And get your rubber scrubber out and scrub those shoes because it'll get that mud out. Y'all, I entitled this tea time date night. And some of you say, we don't do date night. Well, no, you don't have to do date night, but you need date time. You need a date time, whether it's with your significant other, my sweet darling, or it's with one of your children, or if it's with one of your grandchildren. Set up a time to kindle these relationships. Yeah, kindle the relationships. The fire's going to go out if you don't spend some time with these people in your life. And you'll be better for it. Your communication skills will go up. There'll be some wonderful things happening in your lives, but you've got to anoint those relationships somehow, some way, every day. And close attention on a Friday night. I don't even realize it's Friday today. This week has flown by so fast, but Wednesday, it felt like it was just dragging. But maybe you need to do date night with a friend. Call a friend up and say, let's go get some dinner and maybe go to a movie. So don't forget about date night as part of your basic weekly plan. It's clean out your car day. And when your car's cleaned out, you don't mind getting in it and you're not embarrassed. When your car's cleaned out and there's nothing in it, nobody's going to break your window to get in there to get to that $1 bill that is on your console. We don't go to the movie anymore. I did tell Robert last week that I wanted to go see The Sound of Freedom. It's a powerful movie. I've watched every interview that Tim Ballard has done and Jim Caviezel. This movie was made for right now, this time in the world. It was made 5 years ago. I remember when it was made. I think I watched the original cut of the movie, and it's powerful, just powerful. I intend to see it. Yeah, they're the Angel Studios are the distributor for the movie and a producer, I believe. Amen, Julie. Amen. So I will see it, but I've already seen the first cut of it. But it's powerful. It's powerful. Evil people in the world. As they said in the movie, our children are not for sale. Mm, mm, mm. And sometimes it's their parents that sell them. I watched this young woman from North Korea. She got sold into slavery by her mother. But she made it out, and I saw an interview with her. I don't know her name. So, y'all, do something fun tonight. Watch a fun movie. We're going to find something on TV to watch. Anyway, I love you all. Drink your water. What's for dinner? And, have some fun. Have some fun. I'll catch you to. I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow. I might rerun uh, one of our How Fly Lady Works videos or something. So if you get a notification, I won't be live, but I'll probably be in the chat, which is always fun. I get to talk to y'all in the chat, and I love to do that. It would be fun to take a nap. I haven't had a nap this week. Last Saturday, I got a nap. Okay, y'all, I got to sneeze. Did you know you can break a rib if you hold in sneezes? Okay, y'all. I love you. I'll see you later. Be good, kind, and sweet. Be good to yourself by keeping those relationships kindled. Be kind to others, especially your spouse, by planning something fun that he would like to do. And let that joy and sweetness that is in your heart show the world who you are. And be ready to give your testimony to whoever needs to hear it, because that's our main job, is to share the gospel with the world. Because when we get it shared with the whole world, Jesus is going to come back. I love you all. I'll see you later.